The Dogs' deed is done.
What can I say? They were the best. They really stood out. They put it all together when it counts, and that's what the sport's all about.
What a routine.
And that just may do it for Georgia here tonight.
Wow.
The GymDog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia.
Hello and welcome to the Georgia GymDog Show. I'm Kevin Kopp, joined as always by head coach Jay Clark. Coach, this was a week where 3 of the top 10 teams rested completely. Your team went in the opposite direction. 2 meets 1,000 miles apart in Ann Arbor on Friday night, back at home in Athens Sunday afternoon against NC State. So it's a whirlwind. We have a lot to talk about on the program, but let's backtrack first to Friday night. Obviously, another disappointing road result. Ann Arbor has been a tough place to play. That is not a new story. Georgia going on the road to Chrysler Arena. A 195.8, so improving slightly on that RQS, and we'll crunch some numbers a little bit later in the show, in a loss to Michigan, who put up a 196.375 and actually cracked into the top 10 this weekend. What are you able to take away from that final road performance? Obviously, still some positives to take away from a meet where the scoring was tight again on the road.
Well, the positives were that we got some other people in the lineup. We got some people rested. We needed to do that because we had the meet coming home on Sunday. So Grace was not in except on balance beam, and Marcia was not vaulting, and we put Krista in on bars, and we had Kat Ding doing the all-around. So we had jumbled our lineup up quite a bit, and I think you know, there's a lot of positives to be gained from other people getting experience in case they have to get in there.
Well, let's transition and talk about that Sunday meet against NC State. Senior Day special for so many reasons, and for this senior class in particular, a nice milestone win for this senior class. They recorded their 100th career victory as Georgia GymDogs. That is just an unbelievable record to think about. Of course, 3 national championships, 2 SEC championships between this class. I thought there were just some really nice moments on Senior Day as well for these seniors. Lauren Sessler getting to vault and finishing up her home career with an exhibition on bars. I thought both of her routines very nice. Marcia Newby has a career high on bars with a 9.925, and of course Courtney McCool punctuates the day as only she can on floor with a 9.975 to finish up their Stegman Coliseum career. You look, I mean, this senior class won a title on this floor. They are unbeaten in the Stegman Coliseum. For 4 years. They become the 2nd straight senior class graduating from Georgia to do that. So for so many reasons, this was the culmination. It was a great day on its own with a 196.8, but the culmination of so many things that these 5 have worked for over the past 4 years.
It was just nice that they all got out there and had some success. And you mentioned Lauren Sessler, and that's a kid that came here as a walk-on and put it on the line for us for 4 years. And you know, you don't see too many of those where they come in and make the same commitment as everybody else, minus, you know, the scholarship. And so just very proud of her and of Lauren Johnson for finishing what they start. You know, that's something that we talk about a lot here, and there's a lot of kids that wouldn't have had the fortitude to do what they've done for 4 years and really not get a whole lot of accolades. You know, sometimes when freshmen come to Georgia, they all have visions of grandeur of how it's going to work out for them, and then when it doesn't, you know, it's very easy for them to want to walk away because they really have no commitment in terms of being on a scholarship and those kinds of things. And so it's just nice that they were able to finish out. I'm very proud of both of them. Lauren Sessler did that bar routine, and she hit the last handstand, which was kind of neat. That was sort of a neat moment because that's been the place that has she's really struggled. She has a difficult time hitting a handstand at the end of that bar routine, and she did a great job, and I was just so pleased with how she did it.
Well, and I had the pleasure of speaking with both of them individually after the meet, and you could tell that the same enthusiasm for the Georgia program that they came in with in 2007, they're leaving with in 2010. One thing, regardless of the amount of competitions they've been able to do out on the floor, each one of them is going to leave with at least 3 national championship rings and a very good chance to make it a 4th. And I think that's part of what you talk about in terms of buying into this Georgia program that was evident from Lauren Johnson, Lauren Sessler, every bit as much as Marcia Newby, Grace Taylor, and Courtney McCool. And that was really special to see yesterday. Looking at this weekend as a whole, though, the 195.8 against Michigan, the 196.8 against NC State, just enough for Georgia to vault over Florida to number 4 in the national rankings. I think this is really significant. Georgia has been steady or moving up in the rankings each week since February 1st. There's only one other team in the nation that can say that, and that's UCLA, without taking one step back the entire time. And so this has been the culmination now of 6 weeks where Georgia is really starting to build towards something, and at the right time now with the postseason looming.
Well, that's what you want. This time of year, you want to feel like you're peaking, and albeit we had a rough night on Friday, you know, I do feel like this team is beginning to peak, and they're beginning to really believe. You know, we had a hard time shaking off some of those early season issues that we've had, and the one thing that you want to make sure, though, is that from here on out that the mental approach stays very consistent, because we've had some inconsistencies with really good road meet at Florida and then come home and stumble around a little bit against LSU, stumble at Michigan. And, you know, what you want to be able to do now is make sure that mental approach, particularly because we're going to be on the road the rest of the way. I mean, and it's no secret that we've struggled on the road this year. And so we're not going to be in the friendly confines of Stegman Coliseum, where we seem to be able to execute at a different level. And I'm not talking about scores. You know, a lot of people say, oh, yeah, well, they score that because they're at home. I'm talking about the execution of and the performance of our kids has been much elevated when we've been at home. And we've had one performance that I think is worthy of being compared to our home performances. And fortunately, that was in Gainesville, Florida. So if that's hopefully that's a good sign, and that, you know, from here on out, the kids know that it's a championship feel, and there is no way that we can stumble around and expect to win one of these meets coming up. So I'm excited about what's going to happen here in the next 3 weeks and beyond.
Well, again, Coach, looking at this 196.8 for Georgia on Senior Day, we'll break it down rotation by rotation, looking at Georgia on vault and bars when we continue on the Georgia GymDog Show.
The Georgia GymDog Show is brought to you by Melwood Springs. Melwood Springs from the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Georgia. The Tano Booster Club. The Tano Booster Club, the official booster club of the Georgia Gymnastics team. Athens Orthopedic Clinic. Athens Orthopedic Clinic, serving Georgia athletes for over 40 years. And by Alpha Factor. Alpha Factor, the official gymnastics apparel worn by the GymDogs.